Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So today we'll be covering the Thalys new Incarnon scythe for level 10,000 missions. We got some good synergies today, and yeah, tons more to cover on Tennocon, some speculation as well. We'll be doing that tomorrow, but yeah, today I owe you guys a Thalys level 10,000 video, so here we are. Before we get into this stuff, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, all that kind of stuff. You're at place Warframe content. We'll be live on stream tonight with some Warframe and Marvel rivals, so come on, stop by if you want to see any of that stuff. Also some giveaways too. Alright, so the Thalys Scythe comes from the Isle Weaver node. You get those Scuttler husks to turn them into the vendor to get this new Incarnon Scythe. It does not require Steel Path, so just keep that in mind, that when we are going over this thing, it does not require Steel Path, so it is actually meant to be weaker than things like the Dual Ichor Incarnon, the Magistar, etc., etc. So just keep that in mind when we're going over this thing. It's not meant to be as good. That being said, what does the Thalys Incarnon do? Well, once we reach our Incarnon form with this weapon, it can actually create shards on enemies from light attacks, and it will let you detonate those shards once you do a heavy attack with certain perks, or just they detonate once you get another shard on another enemy. So basically, the more enemies you can hit with this thing, the better, because you'll have more coverage of the shard special passive. Additionally, melee influence can work on the shards to help you spread them relatively well. One more thing additionally is that these shards have not the best crit chance usually, basically 0, but Wrathful Advance from Kullervo can actually make them red crit. So Kullervo is really, really good with this weapon. He's good with most melee weapons, to be fair. Alright, so that'll be over. Let's go over the builds and how this thing works in the sim, because I actually kind of like it, but it is not as much damage as things like the Hate Incarnate. It can kill a level 10,000 Thrax with Kullervo, but yeah, most things can, to be fair. Alright, so here we are in the Simulacrum with the Thalys. Like I said, this is a non-Steel Path Incarnon, so it's not exactly supposed to be the strongest of the strong, but it is really good. So we go ahead and summon in some enemies right here. We're going to go ahead and just swing it with no buffs right now. So no buffs right now. That's what you're kind of dealing with. Keep in mind, I don't have any crit chance mods on this build as we are running Kullervo, and Kullervo does not need critical chance mods on his melee. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. Let's go ahead and throw on some buffs now. We're actually going to go the Incarnon form as well. So now we're in Incarnon form. And yeah, it should be pretty much GG. One hit there, and they should all be dead, I'm guessing. Oh, actually, it wasn't one hit. Maybe I should throw a Wrathful Advance for it to be one hit. But as you can see, it's just, you know, it's pretty standard stuff. There's nothing like super egregiously powerful right now, and you can hardly even tell the shards are doing anything. So yeah, those enemies had shards in their bodies. Let's go ahead and throw it down now with all of our buffs up, so you can expect this in-game play footage. So like right there, that's what you get when you have all your buffs up. And like I said, the shards didn't even matter. They're going to die to the electric procs no matter what. So yeah, don't forget with Kullervo as well, you can just do this. You can teleport on enemies with your scythe and then just wipe out the entire area. So yeah, that's the power of melee influence. Let's go over all the setups here and what the Incarnon perks do. It's a little bit hard to notice the shards or anything, like I said, because enemies die so easily in this game. But once you go to Incarnon form with a increased multiplier on this thing, you can either be a 3x multiplier or a 6x multiplier. The Thalys Scythe gets plus 3 meters of range and plus 40% attack speed, so some really nice buffs there. You can either push this thing's range further with some of the Incarnon perks, but we'll talk about that in a second. So yeah, like with the current build, it's going to be 8.8 meters of range, and with the one of the Incarnon perks would be like 10.8 meters of range. Then you throw a melee influence, it's very far range. As far as the perks on Incarnon Tier 2, you have the options as follows. Dreadful Reach, this is what I was talking about. On weapon status effect, gain plus 1 meters of range, plus 0.1 meters of range for 8 seconds, stacks to 20 times. So you get up to 2 meters of extra range as long as you're constantly proccing stuff. It can work, but the other perks are, this one's more important to me. 20% attack speed. This thing is really slow at default. Yes, the Incarnon transformation gives us more attack speed, but yeah, this is, you need a lot. These weapons are really slow. I've even got Arcane Strike in my frame too. So Whirling Flurry is the one I went with. And the last one, Raging Drift. Gain 80% attack speed while slide attacking, and plus 20% slide. So a little bit of mobility increase there. A big attack speed increase while slide attacking, but slide attacks are very outdated, unfortunately. Next, Incarnon perk tier option, you got Evo 3 with Nimble Scythe being the first one. For each enemy hit with a slide attack, gain plus 5 combo count. I really think if you're doing slide attacks with this weapon, you know, you probably aren't going to watch this build video in the first place, but yeah, for actual people that want to use good stuff, I wouldn't recommend this. Yes, you can get a bunch of easy combo, but you don't have a hard time getting combo thing in the first place. It's hitting so many enemies all the time. Next, Echoes of Rage. Plus 1 combo count on shard damage. That could be easy combo right there, but I went for adept reflexes, plus a 20 initial combo at all times. So we're walking around 20 extra initial combo. We got 44 initial combo right now, it looks like. Almost the last perk here, we got Evo 4 with the perks being Swift Transmute, which lets you do a 3x multiplier instead of a 6x multiplier to get Incarnon form. Kind of nice. The Incarnon form is kind of whatever. Like, it's more range and attack speed, but the shards don't really matter to me. And Vaulting Leap's the next one, plus increased jump height and double jump height. Now, I did have this one equipped in the gameplay. I just want to see how it was. It's really not that great. I mean, like, yeah, you do jump higher. It does actually work. But I'd say probably go for the one where it's like, dude, honestly, anything besides, like, it doesn't really help. If I'm using Kullervo, I teleport around anyway, so I'd say you're good to go with Swift Transmute, or even Devastating Mercy, maybe. Ground Finishers knock down enemies within a 6-meter radius. Okay, maybe not that one. You could do it if you wanted to, but yeah, I'd say go with Vaulting Leap or Swift Transmute. Probably go with Swift Transmute so you can always be in Incarnon form, basically. And for the final tier perks, these are the ones that are usually really strong. We've got the first one called Explosive Growth. Shards grow whenever a new shard's created, up to 3 shards. Fully grown shards are up to the enemy, embedded them, dealing double damage and impaling them on the spot. So you can have some impalement, but honestly, if you're trying to CC enemies with a Incarnon Scythe, I feel like you're doing it wrong. They should be dead from the Incarnon Scythe, not stunned from the Incarnon Scythe. So as far as good perks to kill things with, we got the best one in my opinion, Chain Shatter. Heavy attacks detonate shards. Shards caught within the blast radius will also detonate. So you can basically chain reaction your shards on this one. But the thing is, I do find this perk to be useless because enemies should already be dead. Like I said, they should already be dead. And the explosion of the shards is like 5 or 6 meters, so not a huge AoE, but it's still better than nothing. So I think the Chain Shatter is the best one, especially with Kullervo, you're heavy attacking so much, I say go for Chain Shatter. And the last one, Void Splinters. Shard duration is increased to 30 seconds. Shards become weak spots. They have increased critical damage, increased critical chance when damaged. Shard damage is reduced by 50%. So basically, you could have little mini citrine crystals on the enemies if you use this, but it's not really worth it. Again, you should be hitting enemies with a scythe to kill them, not to debuff or like, you know, make them impale. Don't stun them with a scythe. Don't debuff them with a scythe. Kill them with a scythe like you're supposed to. So that's why with the perks I went with. And as far as the build, we have the melee influence set up here. Now, I did show my Riven video from the other day where I rolled a Riven. If you don't have a Riven, don't worry, it's not that big of a deal. It's a very easy Riven to replace because these Riven stats are super low. So I've got electric and damage and electric and crit damage in mind. I'd say go for Organ Shatter. It will increase the wind-up speed of the Thalys, which you need to heavy attack quite often with this thing, and it gives you that crit damage you're lacking. Now, having electric mods doubled up on here is really nice because now we have less chance to proc electric, but it's still pretty good. If you didn't know, having more electric mods in your build makes it more likely to proc electric, just because the electric weighting is higher. So we have 14% chance to proc electric here. With Amalgam Organ Shatter, it goes down to 11.4, so still really good. So you could totally use this. But the big things here is that Condition Overload does not work on the shard damage, but Prime Pressure Point does. Additionally, Condition Overload is not really necessary because they're going to die in one hit. So who needs extra procs on them? So as far as the build, Electric Mod is needed for melee influence. Galvanized Elementalists increase the damage of electric procs and slash procs. This is a great mod on this weapon because heavy attacks of heavy scythes, that's a mouthful, those do guaranteed slash procs too, so you're getting big value out of Galvanized Elementalists, giving you both slash proc damage and electric proc damage. If you didn't want to go for the more stash hits, I would recommend you stay on Galvanized Elementalist. Normal Elementalist is even more wind-up speed and slightly more status damage, but just keep in mind, like I said, you are lacking a good chunk of status chance here, which the Thalys does need because it only has really low base status chance. Moving on, we got Weeping Wounds. Again, we have bad base status chance, so we need all the status chance plus we can get. Go for Weeping Wounds. I'd recommend it. Additionally, Smite Orican. This build was meant for Void Cascade, and in Void Cascade there are Kuva Grenadier and there are Corrupted. There's also Thrax, but the Thrax can become Corrupted, so this Bane mod will work on Thrax and Void Cascade. Fissure. So yeah, Prime Smite Orican is the best for me. There are times where I'll run double Bane with like Bane the Grenadier and Bane the Orican, but that's usually on very specific weapons that have lots of mod space. This thing does not have much mod space available, so I'd recommend you just go with one Smite. Alright, so as we stated, range is very good on this thing. With our current build, 5.8 meters. If you went with that range perk and did 20 procs in 8 seconds, you'd have, like, what was it, like 10 meters or something like that crazy with the Incarnon perk activated, so good stuff on that front. Galvanized Steel. Now, we are running Kullervo right now, so we don't actually need crit chance, but if you are, you know, it's still a good mod. It still gives you 120% crit damage. I still recommend it on this weapon, as it has good crits, and, you know, you want to crit to kill things. As far as the Tennocon mod, we got Disciple's Merit. Every 4 hits is a Tennocon Instead of at random, it's very helpful to just have Tennocon every here and there to get your combo safe. You could go for Dreamer's Wrath for more crit damage, but again, we don't really need that at this point because we're running Kullervo, and we've also got, like, I consider more reliable Tennocon better over, 32% more CD Tennocon when I've already got so much CD on the build in the first place. So yeah, with the purple shards of Kullervo, like a 13.5 multiplier without the Riven. Like I said, we have purple shards of Kullervo to buff our crit damage a lot, and you're going to need it because the Thalys is not exactly meta. As for the build on Kullervo, again, I'm buffing this thing a lot, so your mileage may vary. We got Ready Steel giving us increased combo chance, so we can pretty much go to Incarnon form right away. We've got Arcane Fury to buff our critical, or to buff our melee damage overall. That will work on the shards too, and also Arcane Strike to make the really slow attack speed of the Thalys still not as terrible. For some other buffs on here that are helping him out, like I said, Wrathful Advance from Kullervo does work on the shards. With this build, 366% crit chance. If you want for a higher crit chance, or a higher power strength build, you go like 800 or more. Additionally, Nourish here is our viral source, so we get viral from this, and we also get electric from the Incarnon, or sorry, from the melee influence, and they're pretty much just GG at that point. Like, yes, we have 2 procs on them, and that's all you really need. Like I said, no condition overload needed for this kind of build. The rest of the stuff is just pretty much stock standard for Kullervo. Moving on to the Rauta here. Now, this is if you are just running out of combo all the time, you can use the Rauta to rebuild your combo. Basically, it gives you combo per shotgun shell, and you can build up your combo really, really fast. So, now that we've talked about this and talked about the Thalys a good amount, let's talk about if I think it's actually worth your Forma investment, etc., etc. And I'm going to go ahead and say that I do think it's worth it, but only if you're bored. If you already have, like, the dual Icar Incarnon, you already have the Nami solo Incarnon, you already have all this good meta stuff, this thing is forgettable. It's really forgettable. The shards are cool, but like I said earlier, it's hard to tell whether the shards are actually even doing anything, because you could literally remove the shards from this weapon, I probably wouldn't even notice it because it just is a strong scythe. So I'm viewing this thing as an upgraded version of the Hespar. I'm not viewing it as like an actual, like, shard-creating monster, or whatever you guys want to call it. It is just a higher stat Hespar. It could not have the Incarnate form, I wouldn't notice it. So yeah, the big things on here is the big range and the big attack speed from the Incarnate form. So the shards are secondary. Like, yes, you can see them working at times, but yeah, dual Icar can be a lot more noticeable at times with the Toxic Cloud. So, oh yeah, one more thing too. Slime attacks don't create shards on this thing, so don't bother. Just do light attacks. Heavy attacks don't create shards either, just detonate them with the special perk I picked, so... Yeah, guys, you let me know how you feel about the Thalys. Do you think it was good? Do you think it's, like, worth investing into? I don't think it's worth the 400 plat ribbons it has right now, that's for sure. But yeah, I do like it a lot. I might use it more. It looks aesthetically very cool with the gigantic scythe. Like, what's not to like about that? And yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Appreciate your support. Take it easy. Peace!